ten ngeshini toba ina ni karasukure kare tongni sonwa lana me shine sonwa na shin rede re ko ji chane neba la so ba kange yang chu tu ko marela cheda do semla yang ko chwe tamji tongba ni yimba de ha ko wa ina on ta tela neba ko neja da neje 네규 텐조 창마양 랑신기 마주바 하코 차례 대인들 자네 네 지게 동반이 하콩긴 디응월라 네바 칭켄 직단 네바 세야다 지게 네사 랑니세 강야 투비야마 대인들 공알라 네바기 직바 텐데야 강야 요마레스 심라 디바메데 타바메 손다 대 디바세한테 덴진 유메 이미라 소비기 디바 텐데 메데 타바 요마레스 대 가레스나 친지 로레 대다 뒤중만조 마임바시라 임바당 메바시라 여바 랑신이 마투발라 랑신 투반 진데 바든조 친지 로발 대인데 돈이 도송아이나 델렌데 두거라 네 냥알데벤 타르친도 다 텐데인데 델 냥알데벤 타르친 그래서
So again, from here, so it's talking about the advantages of the practicing the Prajaparamita, right? So once you practice and you meditate, of course, first of all, you should hear and you should listen, and then you should contemplate on the Prajaparamita, and then you should meditate on the Prajaparamita. That's the sort of common order, how one should practice or how one should realize the reality or how one should practice the Prajaparamita. It's the Sutra, right? So therefore once you once you have the realization of the reality or emptiness, not only the intellectually but also the practically or emotionally, then you will be able to abandon all your dualistic minds, all your the negative emotions. Then of course you wouldn't have any fear and no one can harm you, no one can obstacles you, because you have already generated the view of emptiness toward everything, right? So you have habituated the sense of emptiness toward everything. So although the other person will harm you, you wouldn't perceive that as a harm or that as an obstacle, that as an issue. So therefore you wouldn't you are not harmed by anyone, by any people. You are not obstacled by anyone. So therefore you will have full of advantages. So therefore because you have already gone beyond the dualistic mind, beyond the issue, beyond the problem, beyond the harm. So therefore you wouldn't have any fear and any sort of problem, any sort of issues. So because you have already went beyond the samsara, so that is the sort of one specific advantages of the practicing the Prajaparamita.
Tatine karsukure lam dela ni tandagi sanje ta shajatuba ta degindu di nekab chanju samba namji gomba tsamma imba ne chi sanje tamje kiya 대가랑 람 냠랭 제네 상제바레 스틴 송고레스티 뒤순도 넘버 휴브 상제 탐제 시라제 파르듯이 말 때네 라나 바양도 버조부 전주 동음을 줘 상제 소서야 돼.
So after that it mentioned that not only the present Buddha Shakyatthava and Bodhisattvas, but also all the Buddhas and Buddha and Bodhisattvas, all the past Buddha and Bodhisattvas, all the present Buddha and Bodhisattvas, and as well as all the future Buddha and Bodhisattvas, all the past Buddha and Bodhisattva actually have already practiced have already got achievement or enlightenment through the practice of Prajaparamita Hridaya Sutra, and all the future and all the present Buddha will be or get achievement in enlightenment through the practice of through the practice of the Prajaparamita Hridaya Sutra. So therefore it shows the significance of the Prajaparamita Hridaya Sutra. So only through which all the Buddhas got enlightenment.
Tatine sharaji paruchimeng ha tingdo tedagana sharaji paruchimeng ha shiraji pardu chimbi nga sayate lecture jike to mantra sungyosa mantra sheshawa te pyoge to pa gyurna yin tsendo le kyobi tab kheparwa sungyote yin tsendo le kyobi tab kheparwa te da ishi la kogundoa te indu tsane onda shiraji pardu chimbi nga senanda ishi tela sungyosa te kharesna rikpa chimbi nga 다 rikpa chenpo re dewa kara chigi ne luki tuen te ha kowa te tele hlapi ki tong deya chigna tele hlapi ki to deya chigi yo mar te meba indu rikpa chenpo
so after that it talks about the mantra of Prajaparamita Hridaya Sutra, right? So when we say mantra, so the word Sanskrit word is mantra. So if you translate the mantra literally into the Tibetan, then it would be something like that, right? So it wouldn't be a ngak. It would be a like, the protection of your mind from man and tra, right? So there are two letters which is, they combined as one letter in Sanskrit. So man means, your mind, your mind. Tra means to protect. So from what? From conceptual mind, from our conceptions, right? So here when we say the mantra, especially when we say the Prajaparamita mantra, here it refers to the non-conceptual mind, right? So it refers to the path of seeing, path of meditation, and path of no more learning. So non-conceptual mind. So you shouldn't think that when we say the mantra, so there will be a something, which is called mantra. So here the mantra refers to the non-conceptual mind of the Buddha and Bodhisattvas. That is the one, because that mantra, that mantra or whatever we call, that actually the knowledge is the great insight, right? So because it already, that is the one, only because of that we can overcome from all the issues and all the obstacles. Therefore, we must be understood that, here mantra refers to the non-conceptual wisdom of the Buddha and Bodhisattvas.
Lana mebi nga sungurta, lana meba, kongna meba te, ta shiragi parudu chimba senanda, tongba nigi tuenle, hlaqpa tang, tele, kongna, 강양 요마르 대인들자네 람 있는다 따와 있는다 다 냠내 있는다 텔레 싹바 강양 요마르 대인들 라나메 빙하 미냠바다 냠르치 빙하 미냠바세 온디 수직당 만다와 수직당 직바 마인바 대술라 송결세나 상계라 송결 대단 냠바세 온디 상계당 냠바데 가르세나 하 senanda ishi sharabji parudu chimbi nyingbor teindu minyambada nyambara chibe ha sungures.
So after that, it explains the description of the mantra, right? So the mantra is also the unsurpassed mantra. So here when we say unsurpassed, right? So unsurpassed, here it means that is the one. So there's nothing above that mantra. So above that non-conceptual wisdom of the Buddha. So that is the only decent or only the great thing that we must achieve. So above that non-conceptual wisdom of the Buddha, there's nothing that we can achieve. So therefore it is called the unsurpassed mantra. And after that it's also called the mantra that equals the unequal, right? So because once you generate that non-conceptual wisdom, so according to that wisdom, there's no any differences between the samsara and nirvana, and so therefore it equals everything. That still we have so many equality, so many inequalities, right? So in relative level, we have so many unequals, right? So we differentiate toward everything. So once you generate that non-conceptual wisdom, then it equals everything. So it makes sort of one state. So therefore it's also called the mantra that equals the unequaled.
동할 탐제 rabdu shivar chibe ha 다디 시라지 바로드 심바 온 시아버린 줄위기 하 델라 때네 지게 다 동할 내갑단 타르도기 동할 탐제장 아니 째네 짐버 지규레스 대인도 동할이라도 시var chibe ha 미준베나 덴버 시버 차데 타고 대 동니 온 시아버린 줄위기 땅 하세나다 텐스나다 대 동반이 레디로와 다 하티 된 동반이 대 시라지 파르치면 하르 텔레 라비기 마준바시다 텔레 라비기 덴바 요마 텐도 미준바 임베나 덴버시버 차테스 시라지 파르치면 하메바스.
So after that we also call that mantra, the mantra that pacifies all suffering. Of course, that's true, because once you generate that non-conceptual wisdom of the Buddha and Bodhisattvas, then all your unsatisfactoriness, because after that you are going beyond the samsara, you are going beyond the dualistic state, dualistic mind, right? So therefore it is also called the mantra that pacifies all sufferings, and also it is not false, and it should be understood as true. That is the only true, because the only non-conceptual wisdom is knowing the reality directly, without any blocks, without any obscurations. So therefore that is the only true one, right? So for example, we see the physical things directly, right? So there's any false, there's no any falses, so to see the directly. Similarly, the non-conceptual wisdom of the Buddha and Bodhisattvas can see the reality directly. So therefore that is the only true one. So we must be understood, or we must believe that as a true. So therefore the mantra of the perfection of wisdom is proclaimed as follows. So after that, the mantra itself is coming.
Tayata sungdo, tayata zayadi shechawa sungyos. Om shechawa chitang om tenmang tashipadang ani hiki ngondemba la sawa mangbo chila jugyosar ta dikapso tashibanda ujinsar.
And after that, the mantra. So the mantra, it starts from the tadyata and om. So tadyata means it is sort of, right. So tadyata means, in Tibetan we say ditate. So it is like that in English, right? So tadyata means it's like that. So om. So normally the om has many explanations, but here we can consider as om means sort of auspiciousness, and om means very sort of fortunate one, right?
Gate se she chawa gate se de song sungdo song sungyosar tangboda gate se na te gare se na ta lam cholam ne ani jolam la ya song she chawa ki tenre sung.
So after that we have the word gate, right? So gate, the Sanskrit word gate means to go and to to walk and to go. So here the first gate, it means we must go from the path of accumulation, path of accumulation to path of application. So we have five paths, right? So in Buddhism, so the first path is path of accumulation, and then path of application. So here gate means that we must go from path of accumulation to path of application.
Parang gate se chawa de chodu song segures. Chodu kawa song senata jolam ne tonglam la ya song she chawe te resong dos. So
after that it says the pargate. Pargate means you should go beyond, right? So here it refers to the path of seeing. The path of seeing is the out of samsara, right? So once we achieve, or once we get the path of seeing, then we are going beyond the samsara. So therefore pargate, par means to another side, right? So another side from what? Another side of samsara. So pargate means we are going from path of application to path of seeing. So therefore here it must refers to the path of seeing.
Parasanga te she chawade ta karago chodu ne puldu chimbala song she chawada ujinsar te karesna chodu puldu chimba ta yakshön ro tela song she chawa de tan thonglam ne ya gomlam la ya song she chawe gi tönre sungundos.
So after that there's the word the parasamgati, right? So para is again, it refers to the another side from samsara, and some here refers to the decent or the best, right? So gati means to go. So therefore parasamgati means here it refers to the path of meditation. So path of meditation is of course the another side of the samsara, and it is decent from the path of seeing. So it is above than the path of seeing. Therefore here it refers to the we should go from path of seeing to path of meditation.
Tatine bodhi soha she chawa bodhi te changchubre soha se de hitsu sungda tin de lamla song la ta lamla cholam jolam ne thonglam ne gomlam la song ne ta kharichi gorese na bodhi changchup chembor hitsu singres ta changchup chembor ne se do jinsara. So
after that we have the word bodhi soha, right? So bodhi here, bodhi refers to the last path, which is the path of no more learning, right? So that is the ultimate goal that we have to achieve. So path of no more learning is considered as a non-conceptual wisdom of the Buddha, right? So therefore here it refers to we have to go from path of meditation to path of no more learning. So once we arrived that path of no more learning, then here soha, the last word soha here means to remain, or to stable, to make a stabilize, to remain in that state. So that state is the ultimate state that we have to achieve, in which there is no any dualistic mind, there is no any conceptual mind. So therefore soha means to remain or to stabilize in that state.
Teindu chidane hase dinde do tayondu le labundo ngage chomsing sar samsa yorde inaya hase ya de tinzo le labundo ji swe debudo jinna ya de mama sangye da changju samba tinzo gi chingi labsha ba indu chinlab hajang gi chembo res teindu nganzo gi dinde do ji so singsa tene kashi dinde ngala shenyo yorde ji tab deure dinde swe shan digi mare se dinde za ni diga yo mar so so swe sha jang nganzo tamal ba so so geora kaze mo kaze kya ba yang ha so so zamne nen dende ba dilla pendo 강야 용야 yo mares teindu denzo jing dende bodo 직다 레일 한도가 통화 있나야 된저 진랍다 생각 삼지 미켜봐 된데레스.
So therefore when you recite or when you see the mantras, so it seems that very easy to compose, and it seems that very easy to recite, right? So someone they just compose their own mantra and they just recite it. So but in fact, even though the mantra seems very easy to compose, seems very easy to recite, so we shouldn't do that, because the mantra is even though it seems very easy to compose, even though it seems very easy to recite, but all those mantras are blessed by the Buddha himself. So therefore, by someone before someone told to Rinpoche that all they can also compose the mantra, because composing the mantra seems very easy and reciting the mantra also seems very easy. So someone once a time someone told Rinpoche, and Rinpoche was saying that even though it seems very easy, we shouldn't do that, because if you just create a mantra by yourself, then if you recite that mantra, there's no any blessings, there's no any benefits. So therefore all the mantras are blessed by the Buddha himself and Bodhisattvas. Therefore there's so many advantages, there are so many benefits to recite and to recite the blessed mantras.
Sharipo teta na chumizama ta karsavon pakpa jenre seki dona sharipula onda kondu shebeki nyamlen tende shi 제거를 해서 송구를 해서 대따라 셔럽지 바로도 심 삼월 라브라 차오 시 차데.
So in the end, the our Lokiteshvara, since till here our Lokiteshvara was explaining, giving the response to the Shariputra. So Shariputra has asked one question, right? So till here, our Lokiteshvara was explaining and responding to his questions, and from here Shariputra, our Lokiteshvara was saying that okay, now you should practice, or one should practice, or one should train Prajaparamita. Prajaparamita. One should understand. One should practice Heart Sutra in this way. So this is the method of how one should practice the Heart Sutra.
Tatindi 단지 공내 산지를까 가시지와 단지 발도 가르친질라비 까대 로디게 가인스나 당보 산지 사모나시 저 띵인들은 혐버 슈르와 다 슈비기 링라 데니 티기 진랍기 파파 제레스 원주의 시라 샤리푸니 티와 틸렌낭 다 데니 다 제수 낭웨 까세야디 텔레 데니 고츠군다 테네 좀 된데 땡긴데 텔레 얘인데 좀 있으면 말씀하지 홍보전에 원초 렉소 시작하잖아요. 렉소 리지부테 테이션 지들 키기 때 리지부테 테이션 테스 테카르다 너나 줌바 샤리푸다 제레시 큐니기 제 송샤바 저와 딜랭기 고네 다 셔럽지 파로드 좀 직송여라 대가랑 레스 공기다 잡교를 담아서는 예시 자와데 지수 나와서 촉진 때 봐세기 그래서.
So after that, from here, so actually yesterday we have discussed about the Buddha's teaching, right? So there are three different types of Buddha's teaching. So direct teaching and blessed teaching, and through the empowerment, some teachings have become Buddha's teachings, right? So from here, Buddha himself, till here Buddha was, just meditating on the absorption, on the samadhi, right? So from here he arises, he wake up from the samadhi, and then he was approving the answer. He was approving the question and answer that is done by the Avalokiteshvara and Shariputra, right? Saying that you both guys have done such great jobs, and that is true. What Avalokiteshvara was saying, answering, and what Shariputra was asking. So therefore, from here, it says, excellent, oh son of noble family. That is how it is. That is just how it is. So that is actually Buddha himself's direct teaching. But through this, the Heart Sutra becomes sort of blessed teaching of the Buddha.
Tene ma songbe kaseyade insares chedar cheji tamba teshin do sharabje parodis ma samola chebar chate ta pagba jenes wanchu cheji tenshaba tega nashin chene 셔럽지 파로드 심바 사모 델라 냠레 제고레 송바 다데 가서 뭐 송비가.
So from here it says that one should practice the profound perfection of wisdom just as our Lokiteshvara has taught, right? So this is the sort of direct teaching of the Buddha himself, because Buddha himself was approving all the discussions that is done by the Avalokiteshvara and Shariputra, right? So this is the sort of approval by the Buddha, and this is the sort of direct teaching of the Buddha himself.
Tiyin shekpa namja jesu yirangwa ta tiyin nyakapsu tiyin shekpa shenda changjub senpa shenda tsangmayang sanjiki songshakwa tela gamu tang gyabgyor namba nangwa re songyo res chomdende teke je ka tsalne tsetandama Shariputra nyusama samachimu pakpa jenre tsa wanchu 탐제다 덴벤 코 대다당 탐제다 코르 고네 다좀바당 장주 셈바 여러 대하나시엔 라라다 메다 라마인 코르 지취슈된게 제사다 대다 탐제장 제ben직된 이란데 좀데디 송발랑 원버 답에 산지기 송샤바 텔라 가신 고비 수지고네 텔라 number 2 sanata 2 kurdan haba tende shubare sungre steinjita shiraji parjuma de join.
So after that having the discussion and teaching the the Heart Sutra, so doing this great job, so all the Buddhas and Bodhisattva who live in the 10 directions, they are rejoicing so to the great jobs, right? So then when the Blessed One had said this, so all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas were rejoicing the task that is done by the Buddha himself and Avalokiteshvara as well as the Shariputras, right? So they have done this great job, and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are rejoicing, and not only the Buddha and Bodhisattvas, but also at that time there is the gods, human beings, the asuras and gandharvas and all the beings that who are sitting there are rejoicing or praising to teaching or to discussion about the Heart Sutra. So therefore this is how the Heart Sutra is composed, and this is how the Heart Sutra is taught by the Buddha himself, and how the inside the Heart Sutra, how the Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara, they discuss about the reality or the emptiness. So therefore, so now we are going to finish. So the word, so this is the, say that thus concludes the Mahayana Sutra of the Blessed Mother, the heart of the transcendent perfection of wisdom. So this is the sort of conclusion and end of the Heart Sutra. So this is that we have already done the teaching of the Heart Sutra. So so if someone has any questions, maybe.
Yes. Rinpoche, just now you mentioned that the Buddha had 3 sets of teaching: his direct teaching, blessed teaching, and the empowerments. So this Heart Sutra comes under the category of Blessed Sutras, the part of the Mahayana Prajnaparamita. Now we know that according to the teachings we have heard, Mahayana teachings will take us 3 countless aeons if we practice the paramitas. So based on that, this Heart Sutra, if we will practice, will it also take us 3 countless aeons?
He said we need to take 3 eons. According to Paramitayana, we need to 3 eons to practice within Buddhahood. Yeah. So when we practice this Prajnaparamita, does it mean that it also take 3 eons to do?
Chidang tekwachimbo shizun china sangye la kawatami sum gogores shigores. Ane tanda sharab nyingbo dido ane ko dekyangba ko nyamlin cheba ina sangye ba la kawatami sum gogores.
Sharab je paro de chimbi nyingbo de kyangba se on de manzo khadu ina ya lam nyamle chedu zane 파른도 파로도 침비 택바 있나다 상아 도지 택비기 람이난 우마세야 될 인지미 로고 송겨레스 대인디 전에 짱바세야 될 란도나 타고 똥샤라 롱도아인데 람양다바 차기요 말레스 답 hingi 첨보당 똥바니니 송돈 죽는 로고 대인디 똥바니당 답 hingi 첨보 송돈 죽비고네 람데 가시 다 시라지 파르시미 닝비기 따와테 야 파로드 침바 너 파르진라 잔넨 로나니 아니 단다고 시바나시 까와 장매 숨 사기레 대 텔란도아 이나니 아니 코 체지 루지라 상 예투야 여러 텐데레스.
So the Tsechu Lujil Sangye Yores,
상한도지 대봐.
Sangdush de Baba.
시라지 퍼 따와 대가랑 레디어 있나야 탑대 아니 상하라 자라당 아니 파르친라 자라니 용라.
So Rinpoche was saying that actually, whatever we practice, that is mentioned in Buddhism. So we must follow the middle path, right? So if we follow the one side, the view of emptiness, if we don't practice the great compassion, so then sort of we are falling in one side. So therefore, one must practice the union of the emptiness view as well as the compassion, the great compassion, right? So that is the most important thing that we have to practice. So of course, if you practice the union, the Heart Sutra or the the Prajaparamita union with the great compassion, and then if you use the method that is mentioned in the Mahayana, then of course it might take the 3 eons. And if you use the emptiness view that is mentioned in Heart Sutra, and if you take the methods that's mentioned in the Vajrayana, then it wouldn't take the 3 eons. So that depends on how you use the methods. There wouldn't be a big differences between about the view. So even though you use or you practice the Vajrayana, so the view will be the same, Prajaparamita view, right? So then if you use the Vajrayana methods, then it wouldn't take that much time.
Our next question.
Rinpoche, you mentioned about the emptiness. Emptiness is actually just at our eyebrow, but however, by nature, our eye will blink. So by blinking itself, I think, how can we catch back the emptiness? This is my first question. My second question is, we are talking about, maybe we are in the Bhatto realm. So when we're in the Bhatto realm itself, our consciousness is there. So this consciousness, is it the consciousness that all the way from beginner's time, the same consciousness that we have? And how does this consciousness apply to the 4 part, whereby it say emptiness is void, void is emptiness, so on and so forth?
First question. Blink. So your first question.
The emptiness is eyebrow. Is the emptiness on the eyebrow and the eyebrow blink. So how we catch emptiness? How we see emptiness?
Kun delay do la tanda tomani de penangatsuki karse urte kinza do tiod tomani de ngazo miki mik tsumdi gapsuro tomani de khanijin sungores miki rumbuji de deshi jaibe miki puna sin resen
miki puna sin lamarda te karse bare kamgare nyetane mantonga yores la khazan sheimba
tindi ina tadi ale eyelashes rodi eyelashes chadi ya tindi ina tang azu tomani de khanijin simgore khanijin ngo sugore se
tandona khanijin ngon zengores
khanijin hakotu gores azu migi puna shina migi shana shina mi fullayera eyelashes chale
te toko gomdang tabshi sungdeora mangboji lam nyamlen chiyare kam gare nganzu ki sem na la tongban nimma takbara shi chik ne lu di shargir de nganzu ki yi chero chiga mar penna lam nyamlen chinge na tende le lao da insig mare ten nganzu di bija tangires te indu zane ta chig sem gi rangshin ngote sa shung tenzo na la savsar jinta lama tenzo ki damga la nye 아니 믹스에 상하 도지 택바 다지 차샤나 하짱기 nenga chimbote 가르세나 라마라 대규 제야라 때문에 용교 말 빼나 요아 강기 진지 대신이 깨진이란 차와 강 대인데 라마라 대바다 무규 제 용두자네 텔라스남다 이시 소자첨부제는 그 가두제 하마고야 내루 된다지 못초용교레스.
So yeah, it's true that the reality or the emptiness, it's very close like eyelashes, right? So the eyelashes is very close to our eye, but still we cannot see that eyelashes. So emptiness and the reality is very close to ourselves. It is there all the time inside our mind, but still we do not understand, right? So there's so many methods in order to understand, in order to realize the reality, the emptiness. So of course, most of the time what we ordinary people do is we just find, the reality, inside, outside, rather than the inside. We spend all the time, with the external things. So that is the worst mistake that we are having, we are habituating. So if you try to spend time with yourself or your mind, then of course, and also you should study, about the text that's mentioned about the emptiness and reality, and also according to Vajrayana. So the devotion, Guru devotion is very important, because so of course we are, even though the reality or the emptiness is very close, we are not able to recognize it because lack of merit. So merit here plays a huge role to realize or to generate the to understand the reality. So therefore, in order to sort of accumulate merit, we have to have very devotion to our Guru, and having the strong devotion, we must follow the practices and sadhanas that might help us, that might lead us to the reality or to understand the reality, even though it is there. So that is the very, very important in order to understand the realization. The Pandogopsu di Namshi Yoro, Pandogobi Namshi, the Tandangasu Yudi Namshi, the Haran Reves, Candidates, the Pandogi Namshi, the Suk Tomani Suk said the four profoundness, right? The condition Jartugres, Pandogobi Namshi.
Pardola Manzu Dog Su Ragba Yo Maramado, Chidang Su Yores, Pardo Koran Tawik Su Yore, then they in the Pena. Pardo ki semjente pardo ngo chekapse yoro kara chinlable truba doji denda botang ani le truba mai ngala thogres ko thoya gaya yodi tan su yoba thagarang trubdu gres ani thagana singi nagi wangbo tang nai wangbo yodi tan nganzo tende kunri dende kapsu suru tangya da tende chigero tegi ko Timanumia Naguyoba Tia Tukure, Tindu, Su Yures, tell them Su Yodu Su, Kotongani in that Tong Su de Tara Kejamara, Su Yobatum, Kot Tegaran Jares.
So, of course, the consciousness, when we enter to the Pardo and intermediate state, of course, the consciousness will be different from now we have, and of course, still we can, apply the four foundness, four profoundness in the Pardo consciousness also, because of course even in the Pardo state there is a not really gross form and gross the taste, but still very subtle form will be there. So therefore it depends on how when we live. So when we are living. So if we are habituating the sense of if we are habituating right now when we are living, when we are not died, if we habituate the emptiness view a lot, and because of that power, that power will lead you toward even in the intermediate state, and even in the intermediate state you will be able to remember the four profoundness, and you will be able to practice the four profoundness. So therefore even in some Buddhist text it is said that some being, they get enlightenment even in the Pardo state. So therefore it depends how we practice while we are living. So if we are practice and if we have very strong Guru devotion while we are living, that effect plays a huge role in Bandhu state. So if we don't do a practice, then of course our consciousness will be suffer in the Bandhu state, because we don't have any merit, right? So therefore it all the four profoundness also can play can apply in the Bandhu consciousness.
Final question from Mr. Tra.
Good morning, Rinpoche, and thank you very much for your excellent teaching. I would like to ask, emptiness as expounded by the Buddha in the second turning of the wheel. But the Buddha did also go beyond to expound the third turning of the wheel. So when we talk about the wheel, do we then talk about the wheel in relation to the second turning only, or do we also take into account the explanations given by the Buddha in the third turning when we talk about the wheel?
So emptiness is expounded by the Buddha. I'm turning the wheel of Dhamma. Okay.
Then Buddha also turned the third wheel. So
Okay.
this, here is this view, emptiness view. Does it only at the second or also at the third?
Can you repeat it again, please? So the emptiness is expounded by the Buddha in the second turning of the wheel of Dhamma, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And then?
So what I was wondering is that from the Sakya viewpoint of view,
Okay.
from the Sakya view, which we often known as Kodeyame, do we only talk in terms of emptiness, or do we also bring in the third turning teaching about the clear light?
Ko dilagi sir bije. Tongmani second karsegore sanjigi kapaba sinime chugur shipikap so solte jores ma ani sunjores. Ane ta ku dewa tende rangosuma dilay ta khandar mazu sajepigi tadup shizun chene. Ane chidang ta sajepi tadup goso nawa semna gyuma to gyuma jotal drupschi. So semna la enko shuk te dia doji manche. Tongmani na shida shuk matia doji yesaro. Tadi ko kodang dinde ko sons yang tongmani de yang tsuru nang kelle goe dinde rewe se ya doji resh.
Jabage Tongbani de Karsore Kanal Desha Jos Kan Penna Manzo Penna Uma Doji Chashanaya Tiji Ranzo Penna Mother Ngeten Tony Girimba Telamba the bed, one dog Grimba Telamba say Gioro Penna Shirjindo de Chashana, Tea Tony Tengur, the inner Tony te ko Kanala Chona, Yuljin Tongbani, Tende Zo, Tati Negapsu, Kiwi, Sem Kiwi, but no summer Tengura. Ni Tarananshi Chene Nawasem, Semna, Juma, Hara Nawasa Semna. Juma Jutal Rangshim Baduse Tenzo Samaya Khangar Te Yulchin Te Ki Tongni Te Gombi Nekapsu Gomdan to the Shea Digures Martin Batani and Marispena Korwa Konde Yerme Seatan Ni Kaju Chaja Chembo Seato Ningma Zoba Chembo Seat and do Tangma Tongbani Shegures. Tongbani Shegure de Hinayang Nanzu Gizo Sem Yura Sem. Sem te Chigi Tabshi Jishi under the Nang Nawan to Changmaya, then Ramado Tong Denket Sama Semur, Tendi Sem te Nanzuki Sobtaji Sue, Tela Wangjurji Chetumna Chilog Nawate Rangshingi go. Sem de Kande Sutra, Chilo de Ranshin, Tenashi, Imbate, 그 춥디게레스 대인데 망부칠로 나를 노래 망부시 숨겨 말했을 대신.
So, yeah, basically, in Buddhism, especially in Mahayana Buddhism, there are two, expounders, right? One is the Acharya Nagarjuna, and one is the Acharya Maitreyanath. So, if you look to the Acharya Nagarjuna's text, especially the Madhyamika text, so he talks about the emptiness a lot. And if you look about the Acharya Maitreyanath text, especially the Abhisamaya, Alankara and Prajaparamita, all these Prajaparamita texts, you will see all about the practice of the non-conceptual wisdom. So these two are not completely different. So these two are the two coins of one, two sides of one coin. So these two are, right. So even if you say like the view of the Sakyapa tradition. So the view of the Sakyapa tradition, when you practice the view of the Sakyapa tradition, it seems that we are we are emphasizing more our internal mind rather than the external emptiness. But in reality, there's no differences between the Sakyapa views and Mahamudra and Mahasampana and all the views, because of course the most important thing that we have to practice and they have to do is to abandon all our inner negativities. So the reality is there all the time, that we cannot do anything at all. So the most important thing that we have to do is we have to abandon, we have to clear the obscurations that we have between the reality and our mind. So the obscurations are our conceptual mind, our conceptions. So no matter whether you follow the Mahamudra, whether you follow the the Sakyapa tradition's view, so the most important is to obscure, to make clear all the obscurations, to go beyond from the dualistic mind. So then, of course, in the ultimately the non-conceptual wisdom itself and the reality, there's no any big differences. The non-conceptual wisdom and the reality are the ultimate view is the union state of non-conceptual wisdom and the reality. So that is the thing that we have to follow and that we have to achieve. So if you practice in this way, then of course you wouldn't feel so big differences, big gap between the external emptiness and our inner mind.
만주 사자바 다 나와 셈수 줍세야 된조기 가르치기 위해서는 변랑 안조 러닝기 첨보시 여바 있나 다 러닝 대나 샤르데야 된조 까거든 안조기 레레 락바 샤르데야 수 락바 까가 말레스 잡런도네 터키 딩안조 땡기어레스 대인도는 로 러닝 고라 터키 딩자 러닝 고 샤르주메 차기어레 안조 냉가 생기어레스.
So to explain in a quite easy way, Rinpoche was giving examples. In Sakyapa tradition, when we practice the path, first what we have to do is we have to prove and we have to establish the appearance are not different from your mind, right? So the establishment of the appearance is your mind. So that is the one or the first the step that we practice in according to the Sakyapa view, right? So in order to remove or in order to abandon the appearance, for example, if you see a picture, if you see if you go to the video theater, and of course the pictures will appear you. But you cannot, in order to remove or in order to stop that pictures, you cannot by hand, by your hand, you cannot stop by like this, right? So you must do behind, you have to go behind that and you have to cut the wire. So that is the many. If you cut the wire, then of course the appearance will automatically stop, right? So similarly, in order to establish or in order to in order to prove the appearance is not different from our mind, so we have to, first of all, remove our obscurations, self-grasping, and the true grasping that we have toward everything. So if you remove that sort of wide, then of course the appearance will automatically stop, and then you will achieve, or you will get enlightenment, or you will know the reality.
With this final question, we will close the floor for the Q&A session. Close. Thank you, Rinpoche, for your answers. Thank you.
Sada Lundo Benza Yenza Menduja Linshe Gundo Dade Mawa Yudu Lari Kunye Dundaga Ganze Techa Donga Penda Baldo Bave Chile Sambe Wange Yaba Shabde Namda Tada Sanja Sakya La Tesa Gambe 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 Tesa